New-Jersey, 24th June. Father of one of three boys disappeared from the streets of Kэмdene, found three baby bodies. Friday night when he lifted the trunk of the car parked just a few photos from that place were last seen boys and found his son and his two friends dead. It was unclear whether boys missing since Wednesday climbed into the trunk and ended up there accidentally locked, or someone put them there. We haven't defined put them there intentionally, or it was just a tragic accident. Stated about the Circle District press conference, Friday night was also unclear why 150 police officers who searched the river's gutters and tick-knotting forests within the last 2 days did not search the trunk of the car parked in the yard of the house. Where did the boys disappear? We're still doing this, said Kэмdene Police Chief Edwin Figueroa. Police officers also failed to explain why none of the chief. Edwin Figueroa. Police officers also failed to explain why none of the dogs used in the search did not smell the children near the car. Police reported that boys 11-year-old Annie Balacruz, 6-year-old Daniel Agost, and 5-year-old Justin Pagan last seen on Wednesday night when they played under the tree in the yard of the house, according to eyewitnesses around 7 o'clock on a Friday evening. Father of Daniel, David Gost, decided to check the car parked in the yard. He opened the trunk and then started screaming, seeing three boys curled up inside running away from the car. A man fell to his knees and collapsed to the ground. Scared neighbors and relatives wrapped their arms around him and dragged him from the yard. A few minutes later, he was taken away by car ambulance. This is so cringe. This is unbearable, said Wendy White, who joined the crowd of stunned spectators, holding my breath when the cops started stretching the white sheets across the yard. Police said, "What's on the boys' bodies?" There were no visible signs of injury that brought relatives and other people to guess that boys choked on a Friday night. Boys' bodies still inside the car were lucky for further investigations and autopsies. Tragedy. Familiar face in Kэмdene, one of the poorest violent cities of America. Every year kids die from drug warriors, and there are sidewalk memorials all over town. But from this news of the death of three boys didn't get easier to perceive as rumors spread. Volunteers who spent the last 2 days standing in the middle of Kэмdene streets and handing out pictures of boys gathered on street corners and fell on each other's shoulders. Some reached for mobiles to have voice past the news. Others sobbed earlier. Same day. Lieutenant Mike Lynchy from Kэмdene Police Department said that officers conducted an exhaustive search of the area, searched every corner and crevice where could hide one of those kids. Most of that attention was focused on the plot weed overgrown promenade about half a mile from that place where was the last time the kids were seen. Kэмdene, surrounded by River Cooper on the east side and the boiling river of the west. The main version was that boys slipped up in the water and drowned, although the version about the kidnapping was not excluded all day on Friday. Police on boats rushed along the river. Especially trained police dogs were hanging on the nose, sniffing the whole surface. Officers on foot and on dirt-spattered all-terrain vehicles worked their way through the undergrowth, trying to find even the slightest trace of children. By Friday night, Kэмdene police officers desperately looking for a clue. They organized emotional press conference on which three mothers stood in front of TV cameras and begged their boys to come back, or everyone who knew what happened to them give information. "If you know where is my son, please give it back. I need my son," said Nellie Cruz, and cried. Jessica Pagan could barely speak, so hard she sobbed. "We just wanted to you. Come back. Please come back." When it's time for Irada Romanovna, Daniel's mother, to speak, on her face frozen, Mask of grief, we want them to come home as soon as possible. We love them, Miss Cruz and Miss Pegan told the police that they were the last members of their family. Who have seen boys before? How did they disappear? They said they watched the children from the porch of the house around 5 o'clock Wednesday night and then went to the house to make dinner after half an hour. When did they come out? The boys were already gone, took his prescribed medication for hyperactivity impulsive behavior, and the neighborhood boys were talking that he often plays with younger children because the best one gets along with them. Uncle Daniel Mario Rivera said that. Daniel, who disappeared in a day until his last day of kindergarten, was a cute boy who always came home with some new plant, which he just found. He also loved animals, especially cats. Daniel seemed promising to athletes. The neighborhood kids were wondering how could he jump over high-bound chain gates at just 6 years old. His mother, Miss Romance, told the press that he's never left home alone before. She called her son an ordinary child who loved riding bikes, playing in the mud, and simple baby things. The children were found dead 2 days later.